Welcome back to Hooligan Nation, a KISS-Centric podcast. I'm Anthony,
And I'm Rocco.
and this week we are entering the Asylum. Make sure you get out your rouge and eyeliner, and don't forget your sequin shirt. I so enjoyed the Asylum music videos.
Videos really good. I enjoyed them.
Oh, I did, man. And Gene looks so out of place. It's probably going to be the topic of discussion this week is how out of place Gene looks. Number one, Gene would be a very ugly woman. All right. That's first and foremost. Number two, whoever did his makeup, whoo, ooh, man, they were not trying to make him look good.
One thing's for sure, a lot of bright colors in the videos for this album.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Bright colors is for sure. But before we get to all those fun and games, you got anything you want to add for Animalize?
No, I mean, like I said, Animalize was our first concert. I got memories that's going to last a lifetime. It's kind of what brought me into this Kiss world. So, a lot of good songs on that album, and it was a great era. That album makes me think about where I was. Like music brings you back to certain moments in time in your life, and Animalize really epitomizes that to me.
Yeah, I had the same kind of feeling with all the comments that we've gotten lately, pretty much killing this era of Kiss. I think over the years, I've kind of subscribed to that in a lot of ways.
Mm.
And the only advice that I can give to Kiss fans that hate that era of Kiss is go back. Go back and listen to each of the albums just one more time because I got a completely different take. Animalize was a lot better than I remembered it being. I don't deep dive into those albums that I think I've been brainwashed to dislike. And when I did deep dive into Animalize, all of a sudden I was like, wow, this is on par with Lick It Up and Creatures of the Night. And I'm not going to tell you that today's album is on par with Creatures of the Night and Lick It Up, but it was a lot better than I remember it being.
See, to me, I mean, I think I've covered it. Like even Unmasked, I that's pretty close to the Elder for me. Like they're not albums I listen to a lot, but I really enjoy all the different levels and layers that they had, that made them a pretty diverse band and some of the things that they tried to do, and some were real successful, some weren't. But there's a lot of stuff on Animalize I like. So I think what I get out of Animalize is it wasn't as complete an album as Lick It Up and Creatures. They
No,
started they started having some songs that weren't really as fulfilling as those two albums.
yes, absolutely. What I'm saying is, and I don't want to call them haters, I don't, but there's a lot of negative comments, and it's on more than our channel. There's a lot of negative comments, let's say, around the internet when it comes to Animalize, Asylum, Crazy Nights, Hot in the Shade. After doing the review of Animalize, the first order of business, I think, at least for me, is to detach Animalize. And we talked about this in the last episode. I would detach Animalize and attach it to Lick It Up and Creatures of the Night. I think it's in that world. I don't think it's to that level, but I think it's in that world. And then my second part of this is, hey, you like what you like, and I understand that completely. And if you don't like the pop metal, hair metal, whatever you want to call it, overly polished, overly refined, whatever you want to call it. Like if you just don't like it, you don't like it. But for me, I went back to Asylum, which is not a record that I listen to regularly. I can't tell you the last time that I listened to it from start to finish. It really isn't a record that I listen to a lot at all, at really any of the songs. So when I went back and listened to the whole record, I appreciated it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Like Crazy Nights. For whatever reason, I love the song Crazy Crazy Nights. I know everything that it
I
is.
like it. I like it
I
too.
love the song. I like the video, but I love the song. But other than that, I don't really listen to a lot of music off of that. All I'm telling the hooligans is, hey, if you hate it, you hate it. Great. It's okay. But if you hate it and you haven't listened to it in 30 years, and people have been telling you on YouTube and on the internet for 30 years, hey, hate this record, you might want to go back and give it a listen again. Because for me, for Asylum and for Animalize both, it came through as they were a lot harder and they were a lot better than I remembered them being. I don't
But
know, maybe I'm crazy for that, but
for me, I just, I'd like to say to the hooligans, I'm very thankful for the comments, because it seems like on every episode we've been doing now that we're getting more comments, it makes us think more. It makes me think about my take, and hearing what they say. And I really, I mean, we go on and on about this, but I really enjoy the comments, and again, even if the comments are completely different than my take and what I think about it, it still makes me think and makes me evaluate, what I'm listening to. But at the end of the day, if I'm digging a groove, if I'm liking it, I kind of go by what I'd be willing to skip, and what I want to continue listening to. And with Kiss, most of the time, there's at least a decent groove, even if it's kind of a middle of the road kind of song. There's at least a decent groove to where I don't look at a song to skip. There's not many songs in their entire catalog that I skip. Even with the Elder, there's good stuff on every one of those songs, at least in my opinion. But I think most people should think about what they like and not be influenced anyway.
I think most people are influenced, and that's the only
I
point
definitely
that
was when
I'm
I was a kid. That's why I never even gave the Elder a chance.
but that's really my point of this is hey, if you're watching, look, if you spend the time to watch our podcast, for that matter, if you spend the time to watch any Kiss podcast, you are, to me, you are a real Kiss fan. So if you're a real Kiss fan and you absolutely hate this era of Kiss, good for you. I have no opinion. Everybody knows that's ever watched this.
As,
I'm not a big fan of Tommy and Eric era of Kiss in makeup.
Based on what
But
you just said, I'm sorry to cut you off, but based on what you just said, I feel it's necessary to say this. Even if you do, we're still on the same team. We still love this band.
this isn't a hater thing at all. I'm just wondering how many people that make comments, like if I replied to the comments and said, hey, when's the last time you listened to Animalize? I imagine that I wouldn't get the answer, oh, I just listened to it and I still don't like it. I would get the answer, well, I hate the record, so I haven't listened to it in 30 years.
Well, I think we're also in the era of playlists where you cherry pick albums now, and you pick out your 4 or 5 best songs, and other songs that are middle of the road get lost.
News. What do you got for news?
I have 2 bits of news. The
Oh,
first thing that I
bits.
have, yeah, it's 2 bits. So there's on January 30th, 1975, January 30th, 2025, there was an anniversary for Kiss Conquers Winterland. 50 years ago, on the 31st of this year, vintage footage. You can find it on YouTube streaming. It's one of the first times that Kiss was in concert form that was captured, and it's really good. It's called Kiss Conquers Winterland. You can find it on YouTube. So I have that, and then I also, literally like last night, I just noticed a video of the guy was the leader of Smashing Pumpkins. I like their music, and I never knew that he was a Kiss fan. And boy, is he! I just watched it; it was just released.
Billy Corgan, by the way.
Yeah, Billy Corgan. He's on Smashing Pumpkins, and he has a podcast out called the Magnificent Others, and he had Gene Simmons on there, and it's actually probably one of the most I guess, unique interviews that I've seen with Gene in a long time, because Billy Corgan is a total fanboy. And probably the interesting thing about it, because I'm sure you watched a million Gene Simmons interviews, you get tired of his shtick and all the other stuff that he does. But I found it fantastic because it's almost like he's asking questions that we would ask, and he's also asking questions from a musicianship point of view. And if you've ever been the kind of Kiss fan that kind of tried to defend Kiss about the kind of music that them as musicians, like Billy kept on trying to push how much musically they're how good a band Kiss is, and Gene was kind of, when you watch it, Gene's kind of fighting him with that take the entire episode. As far as that goes, Gene's all about money and making sure that you're leaving feeling good, and he just wasn't hearing what Billy was trying to convey. And Billy Corgan appreciated their music, and I'm one of those people that I love the stage show, I love all the pomp and circumstance with them, but I love their music. And like I said, I love the music from the first album all the way through. There's stuff I like, stuff I don't like, but I love this band because of all the music too. The music kept me. The visual brought me to the dance. The music kept me. And you don't go as long, you don't last as long as Kiss did through all the different eras if the music wasn't any good. And Billy kind of tries to convey that to Gene. And I think if you're a diehard Kiss fan that's watched a lot of Gene episodes, I think you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of listening to that, because it's kind of funny with the take that Gene gives on that.
So you texted me last night about this interview, and after spending 12 hours editing Kiss video, I was not in the mood for any more Kiss for the day. But I succumbed to your suggestion, and I was completely blown away. And unfortunately, I have to explain this. Billy Corgan, to me, is a great interviewer. Yes, he is a fanboy. He's on par with the rest of us, and it absolutely comes through. But he asked very pointed, very well thought out questions. Gene was absolutely no help for whatever reason. I usually get entertained by Gene's shtick. I was not entertained last night. To me, he made Billy Corgan work 10 times harder. He tried to avoid answering. It just seemed like he tried to avoid answering questions that I thought were great questions. Like Billy Corgan at some point says, "Look, I'm not interested in all the sensational drama." He was interested in the music, and he was interested in complimenting the band on their musicianship.
And Gene wasn't having it.
And Gene just wasn't having it.
And he wasn't nasty. I mean, like he said, "I appreciate it." Like, he wasn't like nasty to Billy, but he wasn't hearing it.
I thought for Billy Corgan, it was a great interview. I thought for Gene Simmons, it was a terrible interview. He came through as money hungry.
Yeah.
He came through that the money was the only important thing. It did not come through well to me.
It was not a good look for
No,
Gene.
it was not. It was great look for Billy Corgan. And look, I'm the first one to admit I'm not a Smashing Pumpkins fan, but I also don't know much about the Smashing Pumpkins. After watching that interview,
I'm a Billy Corgan fan.
I'm a Billy Corgan fan. I will watch his podcast religiously.
The Magnificent Others.
I already subscribed to it. I will be giving the Smashing Pumpkins a chance literally because of the interview and how he came across.
He's one of us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's definitely, he's right there.
And I think it's safe to say too, like I assume most of his other episodes are going to be like this. He's asking the questions from a musician's perspective, but he's also asking the questions from a fan's perspective. Like you're getting
Yep,
fan questions.
because I'm not a musician. I can't keep a beat to save my life. I was very interested in the questions that he asked. He was fighting. He was fighting Gene on the fact that they are musically a good band, and Gene just wasn't interested, it seemed, in even acknowledging
Right.
what a trained, huge musician thought of him.
Right.
It was weird. It was weird to me.
And
Like,
I mean, he was even complimenting like the songwriting and things like that too. And Gene just was like, anyway, it's definitely worth watching. The podcast is The Magnificent Others, and it's definitely got me hooked.
I kind of have to combine my news with my shouted out louds. Um, just because. So the first news and a shouted out loud to KJ Nodwell. God, KJ Nodwell, if she would come on this podcast, I would have her on this podcast in a second. I really would. I don't know her. I've never actually spoken to her, but she emails me. She is, if we were gonna make a captain of the hooligan nation, KJ Nodwell would be in the top 3 or 4 that I would think needs to be the captain of this crazy ship. Because she is so helpful in a lot of ways. She sent me an email the other day, and I'm going to read the email because it's just easier to read it to get all the information. Hey, Anthony, here are 2 ways to watch Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park on Vimeo. Now, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I did not know what the hell Vimeo was. Never heard of it before.
Me neither.
Well, after we film this, if you go on Vimeo, you better block out about 3 hours of time.
Oh, wow.
You don't need an account on Vimeo, and Ken Nardi has the movie on his Vimeo channel. Also, if fans want to get some laughs, I highly suggest the History Science Theater's Vimeo channel. It's the original 1978 release, once again shown in its entirety, but they added their own running commentary, and I guarantee fans will laugh their asses off. It's been a favorite of mine for years. She goes on to say
Cool.
she tried to recommend it on YouTube. In the comments, they wouldn't let her post it. I don't understand.
Dan the Man too, right? He had Dan. Thank you for trying. Yeah, I know there was some
Dan the
issues with
man,
that
Dan
too.
the man is next. He's next on my list.
Gotcha.
Um, for some reason, I guess I guess Vimeo must be a YouTube competitor. I don't really know. So I was going to put it in the show notes, but I have a feeling that they're not going to allow it in the show notes. So we're doing it. I don't think they can really cut it out of here. So check out Vimeo.
Vimeo.
Vimeo. Check out Ken Nardi's channel. All you have to do is search Ken Nardi or search Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, and also check out the History Science Theater on there. Also, my second shout out and my second news segment is Dan the Man. Dan the Man's another one. Like, you guys don't realize how incredibly helpful you are to us by sending these emails and these comments, letting us know what we're missing. So thank you for that. There's a website. I will put the website on the screen somewhere here. You can search it. It's an HTTP, and it brings up the entire Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park movie. Which when we did the watch party movie review. We took it off of Facebook. That's the only place we could find it that it was readily available. We didn't know of Vimeo at the time. So there's two options for you. Personally, I would start with Ken Nardi. I did not watch the whole movie, but he did make some additions, I guess, would be the best thing for the movie. So I am going to watch the movie in its entirety this weekend, the Ken Nardi version. So that's all I got for news and for my shouted out louds. So once again, thank you, KJ Nodwell, and thank you, Dan the Man, for officially being I don't know, what would we call them, our researchers. You guys,
Hooligan researchers.
yeah, hooligan researchers. I personally greatly appreciate all your help and your effort.
I second that motion.
Well, so be it passed then. Music we're listening to. What you got?
All right, it's not a complete full endorsement. It's an 11-minute song that a buddy of mine had me listen to yesterday. The band's name is Elder, not The Elder. It's called Elder, and the song is called Compendium. It's a very interesting electronic start to it, build up into really cool guitar solos, and then heavy riffs with drum combination. I'm halfway through the song, and I'm just throwing it out because I haven't really listened to a lot of new stuff, but it was introduced to me yesterday, and it sounds pretty interesting.
Well, I got to be honest. I try not to do this, but I just had to do it this week. The music that I'm listening to is Samurai Sun from KISS. I'm not going to get majorly into it. The reason why I'm not going to get majorly into it is we filmed a bonus episode for a Wednesday segment that will be out when this premieres. So check out that Wednesday video. The premiere date on it would be February 12th. We discuss what I consider a hidden gem of a KISS song. Like I said, I'm not going to get into it because it'll be an hour. But this was a very much an unknown song to me. Never heard of it before, didn't know anything about it. And yeah, I like it. I don't know why I like it, but I like it. I like the song, I like the video. I know I touched on it when we did the segment, but there's a live version of it from Japan with the band that they record the song with. And I like the live version. It's Samurai Sun and Rock and Roll All Night. And I don't know why. It to quote Victor, it spoke to me. The music that I've been listening to is Samurai Sun. It's Kiss and Memoro Clover Z, and it's available on Spotify as an EP. And it's a good listen to me. It's a hidden gem of a song, if you ask me. Are you ready to rumble? All right.
You're Michael Buffer in the house.
Kiss Asylum was released September 16th, 1985. It was recorded at Electric Lady Studio and Right Track Recording in New York City. It was 38 minutes and 50 seconds long. It was released by Mercury Records. Producers Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. One single was released from the album, Tears Are Falling. 3 videos were made from this album, so we are knee deep in the video era. The videos were Tears Are Falling, Who Wants to Be Lonely, and All Night. The album was certified gold in the US. Cover art. This is a cool little story. I'll make it quick though. The cover art, and you guys should know by now, the record, the album cover will go up somewhere on the screen. The cover art was done by Dennis Wallach, And here's a little bit of info for the hooligans out there that are interested. I just watched an interview with Dennis Warlock from Three Sides of the Coin. That was a very good, very good, very insightful interview. He's an interesting guy with a interesting personality, and them three guys I think do a great job interviewing people. I'm not crazy about the cover. I have to admit, it's a little bit of a take off of Dynasty's cover, but of course it's colorized and 80s fied, let's
Yeah.
say.
Each member has their own color.
Right. And it's a little too much, a little too colorful for me. Um but yeah, that's the cover. So check that out. Dennis Warlock, Three Sides of the Coin interview. I think the interview was a couple years old, but it's a really good interview. This is not the only cover that he had involvement in. And one of the most interesting things, one of the best questions, at least for me, one of the best questions that was asked was in reference to everybody's favorite music from the Elder. And the question was asked, not word for word, of course, but the question was asked, why wasn't there any pictures of the band? And his answer was, I was not expecting this. It wasn't a KISS record. It's a movie soundtrack. And that's why there's no pictures of the band, because when they put that out, it was put out as a movie soundtrack that was going to precede the movie. Now, to me, if you think about it, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you think about it, it makes sense why the movie wasn't made, but it makes sense. Anyway, it's a good interview. Three Sides of the Coin. Guy's name is Dennis Warlock. DennisWolloch. Check that out if you guys are interested and you're still here listening and watching us. You should be interested in the Dennis Warlock interview. I know I was.
Where can you find it?
You can find it on YouTube. Uh, they're also, for anybody that doesn't know, they're also a podcast, so their audio version is available. Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere you listen to podcasts, they're available where we're available. And also they have a YouTube page, and they have about 700 episodes. They've been doing this for a long time. And I'm a big fan of Three Sides of the Coin. That's all I got. And you know what that means?
Time for the songs.
It's time to stretch, warm up, refill your coffee, get your spirit fingers. Hit it, Curly.
Here we go. All right.
Songs.
So the first song is a great first song to start the album off, called King of the Mountain. Paul, Bruce, and Desmond Child do the writing for it. What I have for it is Eric starts you off with his great drumming in the beginning and good intro. Ripping riff, great start to the song. It's got a cool chorus, great guitar work on the outro. Like I said, I like the chorus. I like a lot about this song. It's one of my favorites on the album.
Love the drums at the beginning. I think it's a good song. I also think it's a well-written song with a story.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it is not the best album opener, but it's good enough. It's not a great album opener, but I listened to all these songs a couple times and I couldn't come up with anything better as an album opener either.
I like it because it almost sounds like a drum roll in the very beginning.
Yeah, I love that.
So that's what I'm saying. Like for an opener, I find a different take, but like I said, I thought it was a pretty decent opener. But all right, so that brings us to the next one. Any Way You Slice It, Gene, Howard Rice, it does the writing, and Gene does the vocals. Howard Rice is an engineer, writer, and neighbor of Gene's while he dated Diana Ross.
That's Gene networking.
Yes, it is. What I have on it is a nice rhythm. I enjoy the groove, and I love the guitar solo on it. Bruce does some really good work on it, and it's an extremely catchy tune. It's one of those. It's one of those tunes that you hear it in your head after the album's over.
Oh, this entertains me every time. It really does. I like it. I love the guitars. It's a musically good song with a good chorus that annoys the hell out of me because I can't get it out of my head. It is playing in my head right now.
Same here.
Yeah. We are way too much alike. I can't wait till we have a knockdown drag out fight live on air over a song or something that we don't agree to, because I'm not sure that it's ever going to happen.
Well, I can't stop the rain. I'm not really feeling that one too much.
No, but I'm also not so in love with that song that I'm going to fight for it either. Next.
All right. That brings us to what I feel should be the second single on the album. And MTV did a really good video on this. Who Wants to Be Lonely? Paul, Desmond Child, and Gene Bouvier of the Plasmatics, as we covered in prior. Bouvier. I screw his name up every single time.
I know you do.
Yeah, I'm just going to start calling him the Mohawk Wonder.
And it's not Gene, it's Jean.
Jean Bouvier.
Jean Bouvier.
All right. That dude from the Plasmatics.
That dude.
All right. So anyway, I love Who Wants to Be Lonely. Like I said, really cool video on MTV. MTV was definitely embracing KISS at this point. It's definitely I said in one of our first episodes, chick-centric. It's definitely a chick-centric song. There's a lot of chicks that are scantily clad in the video in the background, having showers, water, thrown on them. Paul is extremely flamboyant in the very beginning of the video, walking through a corridor towards you. I love his voice. I love the guitars. Great rhythm blend with Paul's vocal, in my opinion. The bridge is awesome into the chorus. It's pretty awesome, and I love Bruce's solo. Bruce's soloing in this song. It's definitely one of my favorites on the album. Like I said, I think it should have been a single with Tears Are Falling, in my opinion.
I kind of think it wasn't a single. I was kind of shocked when I looked this up and I found out that only one single was released. But I kind of think that that's because it was the MTV era and everybody was watching music videos.
Right.
So instead of putting out singles for the radio, you just made a video for MTV and it worked as a single. I think it's a great song. I do have to say, for me, it's a dated song. You should immediately hear the year it came out. And yes, I meant to say that. It's the blueprint for hair metal, aka indulgence rock. And if you get to the videos, oh, that just proves it. I mean, like it's just a dated song. Like, it's a mid-'80s
right
hair metal song. Some KISS songs are timeless, and some bring you back to that time.
Right.
And that one brings me back to that time. Everything was bigger. Everything was more polished up. Everything was shinier. The videos, the musically, everything.
Bright colors.
Yeah, that's my least favorite thing about anything that has to do with Asylum is the colors. Yeah, next.
All right. So that brings us to the fourth song on the album, Trial by Fire. Gene and Bruce did the writing on this song, and Gene does the vocals. What I have for that, I like the lyrics and Gene's vocals. The song's words are good. I like the lyrics. It's about perseverance, trial by fire. You fall down, you get back up. To me, that I like the overall vibe of the lyrics. I I still, it's got a decent groove, but I still consider it a middle of the road. But I really do like the lyrics of it.
Yeah, I thought it needs bigger drums and crunchier guitars.
That's a good point.
I thought it was way too polished for a Gene Simmons song, but it is catchy and contagious, at least to me. And it sounds a little bit like a movie soundtrack to me.
Mm, that's
Like,
interesting.
like a mid-80s Rocky song.
Yeah, I could see it being on like Rocky Four soundtrack. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Hmm. But it's
Interesting.
catchy.
So now I'm alive. Uh, Paul and Desmond Child and Bruce do the writing, and Paul is the vocalist on it. I almost said vocaling. Um, so what I put on here is good drum intro into cool guitar slide, very energetic song. I like it. It's got a very aggressive vibe to it. Um, yeah, I the biggest take I got on this song is it's a very aggressive, kind of in your face kind of song.
Yeah, I think the drums are great, and the guitar at the beginning just needs to be bigger. The guitars are great throughout the song. I love the fast pace of the song.
Yeah,
It's kind of a hidden gem to me.
it's a good
I'm
tune.
not sure how many Kiss fans actually remember this song. It's like I said in the beginning of this episode. This is one of those songs to jump back in and re-listen to. It's
Right.
a it's just like I said the song before. This is the opposite. I think this is a timeless Kiss song. It's not perfect, but it's a timeless Kiss song.
Well, remember I was cruising, I was going for a drive or whatever, and I was listening to the album like a couple weeks ago or a week ago, whatever, and I was telling you, dude, you're gonna be surprised. Asylum's better than you think.
Hmm.
And this is an example of that because it's a song that nobody knows,
Hmm.
but it's a good tune. All right, so that would bring us now to "Love's a Deadly Weapon." Paul, Gene, Rod Swenson, West Beach do the writing on it. Gene does the vocals. An example of Gene bringing in a lot of people to help him out with something here. Um, let's see.
More networking.
Yeah, more networking. And one thing I'm finding out from this album and some of the ones we just recently done, Plasmatic members had an awful lot to do with some Kiss with doing a lot of involvement with Kiss. A lot of influences from the Plasmatics.
Hmm. Or Kiss influenced them.
That's yeah, probably a little bit of both. Probably.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so what I have for that, I like Gene's voice a lot in this. It's got a decent groove. Um, for the most part, I'm not really feeling most of the song. It's definitely a middle of the road song for me though. But there are some really good solo work from Bruce throughout. Um, I kind of go back and forth with this song. It's not. It's a song that 1 minute parts of it I like, parts of it I don't. But this is definitely a song I could see getting lost. It's definitely not in my top tier on the album.
To me, it's another hidden gem in a lot of ways. It's a good Gene song for the mid 80s. Great guitars again.
Mm.
This to me is Bruce Kulick's Eddie Van Halen solo. It's
It's a
amazing.
great solo. Definitely a great solo on that.
And to bonus, Gene plays this song live sometimes with a solo band. It's a little better than a middle of a road song to me.
I told you I go back and forth with it. It's one that I think is middle of the road, but I do like the vibe of "Love's a Dead." Like I like the vibe of it, so I kind of go back and forth with it. It's not something I would go searching for when it's on. It's something I'd be into. All right, which brings us to the single on the album. Paul does the writing and the singing on "Tears Are Falling." It's a great video, and I've said this to you many times through the years. I absolutely love Bruce's solo where the rain is coming down and he's playing the guitar. I just thought for a guitar hero vibe, that is such a good look. It was so cool. I thought. I love the buildup in the song. Eric's hair is bigger than anybody's hair I've ever seen in the video. um, Very cool, original sounding guitar rhythm in the intro. Awesome guitar work. It's one of my favorite vocals of Paul's all time. And again, great video. I covered Bruce's solo on the video. Like I said, they were at a point where MTV was really embracing them. I think Tears Are Falling is the epitome of that. I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And for all you 80s Kiss haters out there, yes, I know what this is, but it's so good. It's another blueprint for that mid 80s power ballad rocker. It's not a ballad, it's not a hard rocker. It's somewhere in the middle. Musically, I think it's great. A great, tasteful, melodic Bruce Kulick solo. It aligns him greatly with Ace to me. If Ace created a solo for this song, it would be similar, I think.
That's interesting take. Yeah, no, that's an interesting take.
And I can't say this of every song, but if anyone else sung this song, it wouldn't sound as good. It's a Paul Stanley signature song.
Yeah.
And it's true what you say. Who could forget the video? I mean, it's the definition of the mid 80s indulgence rock video. It's I don't like their look, but you put that video on and you're like, oh, mid 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Oh, look, there's water everywhere. That was a thing for the mid 80s
Yeah.
videos. You know, the water, the half naked women, those things were all mid 80s standards. Like you had a checklist to make a music video. It was like, you know, is the water department here? Okay, cool. Do we have the half naked women? Okay, cool. Like the stunts, the I'm gonna swing on a vine, all that stuff. That's all mid 80s music video stuff.
Yeah. But it's got a unique flavor, very unique flavor to the rhythm on it. And Paul's voice is it's a song that has no choice but to stand out. It's like I said, I got nothing but love for that song.
I think it's a great song. I think it's a great song that has stood the test of time.
All right. Well, that would bring us now to Secretly Cruel. Gene does the writing and the vocals. I really dig the beginning vibe. The bridge is cool. I like the chorus also. It's a very well put together song. Um, awesome guitar solo that was perfectly timed coming into the vocal. Again, back to Tears and Falling too. The timing of and flow of everything on that song and this song is perfectly produced, in my opinion. Like it's just everything, the flow is really good. You know, the guitar kind of slide down and then the vocals come in. Everything is really, really tight on that, in my opinion. And Secretly Cruel is actually one of my favorites on the album. And I think it's probably a song that gets lost in the shuffle too.
Wow, here we go. I just said this. Wow. Okay. This song is just confusing to me.
Oh,
I hate it, but I don't. It just seems to me that this was a confusing time for Gina. He was putting the effort, he wasn't putting the effort in. And to me, it shows in this song. But it is the 80s, so it's catchy. Kinda. I don't know what else
okay.
to say other than that. It's just not my.
That's cool. That's again, it's me and you do had to be seem to be kindred spirits on a lot of songs. So every once in a while, when we have a different lane, that's actually a good thing. That's cool.
I think if you give it to, I think for me, if you give it to Paul and Paul sings it, I might like it more.
Maybe. I mean, I like his voice and I like the vibe, the overall vibe on it. But yeah, it's different flavor. That's all. The ninth song, which is Radar for Love. Paul and Desmond Child do the writing, and Paul does the vocals. I dig the rhythm, guitar throughout the song. Um, I like the groove. I like the groove. There's some really good guitar work. Bruce is very busy. Yeah, Bruce is all over this song. But it's still, in general, the song itself is kind of a middle of the road song for me. But I mean, I could listen to Bruce play guitar all day. So I mean, this is a Bruce song to me as far as the guitar work goes. That's
Bruce
what I get out of it.
Kulick, Bruce Kulick is ripping in this song. The melodies and the guitar tone on this song are literally music to my ears. And with all that said, I don't love this song, but
Right.
it's okay.
I felt like it's weird
just
that
okay.
like the chorus is kind of weird to me. Da, da, da. It just I don't know. It not a good flow. But yeah, Bruce. If you want to listen to Bruce, you want to feature
Oh,
Bruce. This is a good song to. If you're trying to like get somebody into Bruce, this is a good song just to have them listen to.
yeah. This seems to me like this was his shred album. This was his.
That's yeah, I agree with that.
Hey Vinny, hey Mark St. John, hold my beer. Look,
Yeah,
I can
absolutely.
I can do this too, but I don't have to. So I think this was his kind of coming out party.
Yeah, I agree
So
100%.
I
Absolutely.
think that's cool.
Absolutely. All right, which brings you to number 10. I got a lot for this. All Night, Paul, Desmond Child, and Jean Beauvais. Beauvoir.
Jean Bouvier.
He does the writing on it. Paul does the vocals. I love the video for this. Great MTV video. Again, the videos for this album, you got All Night, Tears Are Falling, and Who Wants to Be Lonely. All three of those videos give you a different flavor and look of Kiss. Some that are good, some are bad, but the videos are cool. All the videos are pretty cool to watch. But on this one, um, I enjoy the song, cool vibe. It's kind of a bubblegum song, groupie song. Great harmonic into chorus, melody, killer guitar solo, great feel. Um, it's very colorful. In the very beginning of the video, you got a hot blonde chick in bed dressed in a white teddy, which I'm a fan of. Bruce's guitar, I like Bruce's guitar a lot. He's got the white and black striped zebra, very cool. And it also look and that it also looks like Bruce borrowed an outfit from Prince. He's all in purple. And it's a cool outfit. Um, and I also Paul is actually in the video playing my favorite guitar that he has.
Oh, the shattered glass.
Yeah.
I wondered to myself first, do these guys watch their old videos? Bruce, I think, is 72 years old. Does the 72-year-old Bruce Kulick sit down and put on one of these videos specifically from Asylum and Crazy Nights and go, what was I thinking? Why was I wearing that? Because that's what I'm wondering. I was watching the videos last night. And look, they're entertaining as hell to
They're
me.
definitely entertaining.
But you look and you go, what is going on? Why would anybody think that this was a good idea? And then you have to take yourself back to, 1985, 86, and you kind of understand. I guess this was a thing at the time. I don't remember it being a thing for me.
Well, you
But
can't see anybody dressing like Madonna these days.
no, that's true. So, first off, I love the riff. I like the song, but the lyrics are
Bubblegum.
they're even too juvenile for me. And I know it was a mid 80s song, but it's an anthem about sex.
Right.
I'm just not sure that's a thing. It was too over the top for me. And what's funny about that, and I don't want to get into it because I know it's coming. You Make Me Rock Hard and Put the X in Sex. I love both of those songs. And they're the same thing. For some reason, this one, I don't dislike the song.
To me, like one of the best things about this song, if you take the video out of it and you just take what they did musically, what I love about it is the lead into Bruce's solo because that timing is absolutely perfect. When it
Yeah.
stops and then Bruce comes in, it comes in with that solo. It's killer. I love it. That part.
Hey, Kiss Army, we work hard on this podcast and try to give you the best content possible. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Also, the podcast is now on all the podcast platforms. So please like and follow us there and give us some 5-star reviews. It really helps us out.
And while you're there, please let us know if there's any Kiss related subjects that you would like us to cover in the future episodes.
All right, you ready for the stage show?
Yes.
So this stage show is all about the KISS sign. It's huge. Eric's drum set looks massive. They have staircases on each side of the stage that are angled in kind of towards the drum set. I don't remember if you did, but I did see this show live.
I
This
did,
was
but I don't remember what. I think I saw it at Madison Square Garden.
this was a very good show. They may have really been at their peak as live performers, but Gene looks like a tranny, period. And Paul is wearing a sequin jacket with shoulder pads. In retrospect, this was not a good look. And as we said about Kiss in the 70s, when people listen to the music with their eyes, I think this is part of the problem with the mid 80s also. They look like cross dressers, but the music was still good and they absolutely rocked live. So, once again, if you're a member of the Hooligan Nation and a member of the Kiss Army, listen to Kiss with your ears, not with your eyes. I think too many people get blinded by the different fashion eras of Kiss.
Well, brought people in the beginning, and you're right. That look kind of like turns people off.
Right, but even back in the 70s, I think a certain amount of people looked at the band and said, I don't like the music without actually listening to it. And I think there's a little bit of that goes on with, this mid 80s, maybe Asylum and Crazy Nights specifically.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall when Paul and Gene are discussing outfits for that era.
Paul's a front man, first and foremost. A great one.
Yes, absolutely.
In the same category as a David Lee Roth.
He's underrated in that respect because their four characters are so big. I think as a front man, he's underrated in that respect.
I think he successfully pulled off every look. Gene, not so much. There are certain places you can't go with Gene. It's like putting me in a, yellow and green checkered suit.
Ugh, not a good look.
Not a good look, but somebody else could pull that off and look very good. This was very much an okay era as far as fashion goes for Paul. Well, that did not work well for Gene. And look, I don't think it worked well for Bruce. And I think Eric, just because due to, and I could, what the hell do I know? But to me, because of Eric's size, you could put Eric in just about anything. And everybody was going to look at that puffball of hair anyway.
Well, I think, and we talked about this, not on air, but we talked about this before. I think out of everybody, when they took the makeup off, Gene's the one that lost a big bulk of his identity. And he had the biggest struggle with it. Paul, like you said, Paul was able to just kind of roll with it.
Yes. But whoever dressed Kiss at the time should have dressed them individually, not as a group. If they would have individually dressed them, and I don't know how that would have looked, but you just can't put Gene in bright sequined outfits and put all, this gets lost in the shuffle, but you can't put Gene in all the women's makeup. You can put Gene in the Demon's makeup. You just can't put him in the women's makeup.
But I don't think you could have dressed him like with the Revenge getup with Paul wearing what he was wearing. I think they just, the overall band look is what they did. But
and look, I don't think this era worked for Bruce either. I don't, and we're gonna get into I think it's the next album where the radioactive leisure suit comes in for Bruce, which to me is horrific. That white and black pant suit jacket look for him, like, yeah, not sure he would sign up to redo that ever again. You got a set list?
I do. So this set list is from December 16th, 1985. and it was at Madison Square Garden. I found that one because I think that's the one that I went to. So it starts out with Detroit Rock City, then it goes to Fits Like a Glove, Cold Gin, Paul guitar solo, All Night, drum solo, War Machine, I Still Love You, Under the Gun, Bruce guitar solo, Tears Are Falling, bass solo, I Love It Loud, Love Gun, and then Rock and Roll All Night. They come out for an encore. Heaven's on Fire, Won't Get Fooled Again cover of The Who, and Lick It Up. Pretty cool set list.
Yeah, except it blows my mind. It always has. Gene does this in his solo set too, and Ace has done it in his solo set. It drives me crazy. When you're a band like KISS, even in 1985, 1986, look, if you're playing the song, I guess because you like it, you've earned the right to do it. But I think for the fans, I don't go to a KISS show to listen to them play The Who. Like, I think it's different when you go see a band that's just starting out and they don't have enough songs or they don't have enough great songs. I don't go to a KISS concert. I don't want to listen to a Who song.
Can I play devil's advocate on that?
Sure.
A devil's advocate on that is just for the KISS fan looking to be surprised with something that they would never expect for like shock value. I think that's like, I mean, a lot of bands, not, I can't really name a right now, but a lot of bands, like even Pink did a Zeppelin song. So I think sometimes they just throw something out there just for shock value, maybe.
Yeah, I don't like it. You want to shock me? Ah, that's funny.
Play shock.
You want to shock me? Put Black Diamond in the set list and have Eric Carr sing it live. I'm shocked.
Hooligans, I want your opinion on this. Definitely, when you listen to this, I definitely want it in the comments because I understand we're both sides of it, but in my opinion, that's why they did it.
I can't even argue that that's why they did it. I don't care why they did it. I just think when you have that many great songs, I come to see KISS songs.
I hear
and no matter how many they play, I always walk out saying, I wish they played this, or boy, I wish this person was in the band so they would have played that.
Well, when I say this, it's going to make you fall off your chair. I'd rather them have done a Beatles song. Come on, you wouldn't want them doing Helter Skelter?
Emily, this is your fault. This is your fault that your father keeps bringing up the Beatles to me. Just had to put that out there. So to wrap up our trip to the Asylum, it's better than I remembered it being. It's better than I expected it to be. I feel relatively strongly that it's important to listen to this and probably the next record with your ears and not with your eyes. And for all you people out there that despise the look of the band in this era, I'm with you. But I challenge you to take a picture out of yourself. And if you're male, check your mullet out. If you're female, check that puff of hair that was in at the time, and the shirts with the shoulder pads, and the suit jackets with the shoulder pads, and the loud colors. And if you were a fan of Madonna, you know, all the colorful wristbands and the lingerie on the outside and that kind of stuff. And you kind of have to understand what the era was about. You don't have to like it. I don't like it. You just have to understand they weren't the only ones. It was the era. I mean, look, I'm never gonna kill Ace. I don't know why, but you know, put on Ace Into the Night, 1987. Put on the video. Ace has got a suit jacket on, that the rest of the band, John Regan looks like an accountant. It was the time.
From my perspective, honestly, I got to be honest, that shit never really bothered me. I mean, I love everything that the '80s represented. It was such a good time looking back. And even though Gene looked a little crazy, I don't think it really ever bothered me too much. I mean, it obviously was definitely far cry from what his original persona was, but I don't know if my mind went there. I just listened to the music, and I didn't really judge it from that too much. I know a lot of people did. It didn't really bother me.
It doesn't jive. It's too much. It's too much to make. Now you can put on Poison, Nothing But a Good Time video. And I look at that and it's a different, there's less of a critique. I go, oh, that's Poison. Yeah. And that's it. For Kiss, I go, oh my God, Gene looks like a tranny.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from. I just, again, it's
know,
not something that I didn't. I just would listen to the music and see what I thought. I didn't analyze. Maybe I should have, but I didn't really
and that's
analyze it.
what I'm trying to say is listen to the music with your ears. If you listen to the music with your ears and you still hate it, cool. Then you hate it. It's all good to me. There are things that I am not a big fan of that lots of people love, and I'm cool with that. It's the influence of others and also the influence of the look that they say things like, Kiss went soft, Kiss went pop metal, Kiss went yes, their look very much did. I can't argue that. Just Asylum, their music is not pop metal to me. The music was good. Look, it wasn't as good as prior albums on Asylum for me, but it was good. It was better than I expected it to be, and it was better than I remember it being. And I listened to the music with my ears. Now, after that, I played the music videos. I watched a concert from Asylum. The concert, I turned the concert on and I immediately started giggling. Like I was like a 9-year-old schoolboy giggling because they're all running around out there looking like trannies. Paul Stanley running around with shoulder pads, and I don't mean football shoulder pads. If you're a kid or you're younger than us, and it used to be in fashion in the '80s for women to wear shirts and suit jackets that had shoulder pads. I don't understand why. I can't make sense of it, but I was there and it happened. And when you put Gene Simmons in a shirt or a robe with shoulder pads on, and then you put a face full of rouge and eyeliner and red lipstick, woo, he was one ugly tranny.
But hooligans, listen, if you do hear this and you haven't listened to it in years, and you think you don't like it, and you end up going back in there and getting some enjoyment out of it, again, that's something you can put in the comments for us and let us know.
What's your favorite song off this album?
If I had to, I love Who Wants to Be Lonely. Oh, Who Wants to Be Lonely, and Tears Are Falling. It's probably a tie between the two of those.
Mine's Tears Are Falling.
I love Tears Are Falling. I've sung that many times.
So if you've made it this far into the video and you're still with us, drop it in the comments below. What's your favorite song off of this album? If you have a favorite song, I know some of you hate this album, but maybe this will motivate you to give it another listen and find something that you didn't think you liked, hopefully. With all that being said, if you like this episode and you're on our YouTube channel, check out this episode right here. And don't forget, don't ever forget, think about Uncle Gene with his rouge on, with his pink sequined robe on, running around on stage, doing his high leg kicks. And remember, if it's too loud, you are too old. Peace out, Hooligan Nation.